and giving a very warm welcome to our very first guest, Dr. Eva B. Dr. Eva was born and raised in Haiti. She's a wife, a mother of two very energetic boys who I happen to know personally. She is a board certified internal medicine hospitalist in the Atlanta, Georgia area. She firmly believes that women are the backbone of the family, and her mission is to educate women on how to take care of the whole self. So, mind, body, spirit. Welcome, Dr. Eva. Could you let me know if I missed anything in the introduction?
You did not miss anything. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Good. Can you believe that we've known each other just about 10 years?
Yeah, actually more than 10 years probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I met you in 2008.
Oh, yeah, because you and my husband Paul started medical residency
At the
in
same
Macon,
time.
Georgia.
Right, same
Yeah, so the time goes by so quickly, right?
believe it. Yeah.
I know. So again, we're very excited that you're joining us today. And let's just go right ahead and jump into our interview.
Okay.
So that our audience can get to know you a little bit better. Tell us, what is a typical day like in the life of Dr. Eva?
Okay, so like you stated earlier, I'm an internal medicine hospitalist. So I deal mainly with hospital patients, the sick people in the hospital, not so much the stable folks outside of the hospital. So that alone is very stressful, very demanding. It's long hours, usually, 8 to 12 hours in a day. And so you can imagine we're having young kids at home, and my husband being a doctor himself, it requires a lot of balancing and teamwork between the two of us. So I want to say that in order for me to sustain and be able to be a mother at the same time as, a hospital doctor, I usually wake up when everybody is still sleeping. I'm up at 4 in the morning. I'm already at work by 5 in the morning. So everyone is sleeping when I leave the house. Everyone is sleeping when I'm starting my rounds. But I have to start my rounds very early in order for me to finish at a early enough time to be able to pick up my kids from school between 3 and 4 p.m. So I still spend my 10 hours in the hospital rounding, talking to the consultants, taking care of my patients. And then I leave early enough in the afternoon to at least be with my kids in the afternoon. I pick them up from school. They come home. We have dinner. We do homework. If we have to do extracurriculars, then we do the extracurricular activities. So that's usually what my day is like. And that's almost every day, including the weekend.
Right. So now with the coronavirus and the kids being out of school, how is that impacting your schedule? I can imagine it's even more hectic now.
Very hectic. I think the teachers understand that I work during the day, so a lot of the assignments have to be turned in a little bit later in the day. They understand that they're working with us. And then my husband has a more flexible schedule than I do. He's not in the hospital. He has his own practice. So we work around each other's schedule. So if I have to be at work, sometimes he tries to be here until I come back to continue and do the homeschooling. And he's home on the weekends in general.
Right. So it's really just about balancing and finding that balance for your family. So what would you say was your earliest memory of adversity? Adversity that you faced in your life as an early memory?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I want to say I grew up in Haiti, and I moved to the US when I was a couple of months shy of turning 15. Life over there and life over here are completely two different things. The issues
Absolutely.
that we're dealing back
Absolutely.
at home are different issues from here. So earlier on, moving here and finishing up high school, I realized right away the difference and the challenges that I was going to overcome.
Now, did you speak English when you came here, or did you have to learn English?
So I spoke very little English. I mean, we did have English courses at school in Haiti, and a lot of the TV shows are in English. So I understood more than I could speak. I
Mhm.
wrote it more than I could speak. Speaking is a whole different ball game. So coming here and starting ninth grade, almost 15, my mother put me in a school that was a magnet school, French and English. So I had half my classes in French and half my classes in English. So it made it a lot easier to transition into, you know, the American world and learning that language. And then going from Haiti to Miami, there's also a lot of Haitians in Miami. It's a big population of Caribbean folks in Miami. And so that transition also made it a lot easier to have friends of my background who spoke my language that I was able to grow with and learn with.
Right, because that is what I was about to ask you, but luckily you had a good support system, because I know one of the challenges that a lot of kids who migrate to America actually end up going through is bullying because they don't speak the language or they have a foreign accent. So it sounds like you had a really good support community to help you with that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there was still instances where there was some bullying, but most of my experience was pretty good because of where I moved to
Mhm.
and the community that was around me.
Wow. Yeah, so that was quite a challenge for you. So what would you say, what toll would you say adversity had on you at such a tender age of 15? Like what toll did it take on you in terms of having to learn a whole new culture, become more fluent in English, and I'm sure leaving a lot of your friends back in Haiti? What toll would you say that took on you?
I think because of the age, being already, you know, in my teenage years and not being so young, it kind of gave me both perspectives. I had the perspective of home, and then I had the new perspective of what it was like moving to America and doing things the American way. Because of that, it made me want to challenge myself even more. It made me want to succeed. It made me want to make it in this new environment. Um, so it kind of instilled a little bit of, how can I say it? The power and
Determination.
determination, exactly, that's the word I was looking for, to make it no matter what. You know, it's that immigrant mentality, you know,
Yes.
coming here and saying to
Yes.
yourself, look, I don't want to go back there. I see the opportunities and I have been given that opportunity. Let me just take it and run with it and be successful with it and never go back to where, you know, I used to be.
Yeah, and I think that immigrant mentality is so strong for so many of us because coming from small islands, as you know, I'm from Dominica, you're so limited in terms of your options for success. And it kind of creates a hunger in you that when you finally have a chance to come over to America, Canada, England, you really just lurch forward and just grab onto opportunities because you've always had that hunger. So how would you say that experience helped you to grow?
Um, I think staying focused. I think also having immigrant parents that were always on top of me to show me the way and make sure that I was always staying on the right path. Because you already know when you're from the Caribbean, your parents are very into schooling. That's the most important thing. They don't care about nothing else but you.
Well, school and religion.
Right, right. But the school thing, I mean, you have to come home with an A. You have to make sure you have, you know, you're the best in your class, the top in your class. So they're also there to guide you, and they're very supportive when it comes to that. They could be strict sometimes, but I feel like the strictness and the discipline is what's needed when you're switching from one place to another, because in America a lot of times the schooling is a lot easier and you have more freedom, and the other kids around you that have not grown in the same environment as you are a lot more free to do other things, and you are seeing things that you've never seen before that you want to explore, but your parents will whip you right into shape
Absolutely.
and make sure you stay on the right path. So I think that was also a pretty big, significant thing in, you know, guiding me in the right direction along the
And
way.
I also think that kind of lends itself to the work ethic you have now because you're so used to overcoming challenges that it instills in you that work ethic now where you wake up 4 o'clock in the morning And it's to you, it's no big deal because somebody else listening to you might be thinking 4 o'clock in the morning, that is absolutely ridiculous. But for you, you're so used to hard work. And I think that's the number one thing that we as West Indians have, the ability to work hard and not complain.
Exactly, not complain. It's true. Yeah, that's I noticed that that was the only way that I could still be a doctor and take care of my patients, give my time there, and then at the same time give my time to my children and my husband and still be home. If I waited till later to wake up, then the whole day would pass me by, and half the things that I'm able to accomplish, I would not have the time to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, certainly. So at this point in your life, having gone through all your challenges, having grown through your challenges, would you say that you found success or are you still on the road to success?
Well, I want to be grateful every step of the way for what I have and what I've been given and what I've been able to accomplish. I know that God has been on my side, because looking back, I know I've come a long way. I don't want to take anything that I have so far and have accomplished so far for granted. So I'm going to say that as I look at myself today, yeah, I've accomplished success. I'm happy where I am. I'm happy with what I've accomplished, the person I've become. But saying that, I also know that I can do better. I can be a better person. So I'm working towards developing um, a better relationship with God, a better relationship with my kids, my colleagues, and just, impacting my community a bit more than I'm doing now.
Mm.
But I'm not going to chase the impossible. I'm happy where I am now if I wasn't able to get more.
Absolutely, absolutely. And many times I think what happens is a lot of times people look at successful people like you and they don't realize that many of the challenges that they're going through, you've been through it or you're still going through it. So let me ask you, where do you think your source of strength comes from? Where do you draw from? Because I think a lot of times people start on a journey and then they give up because it's just too difficult to keep going forward. Where is that source of strength coming from to keep you motivated and keep you moving forward?
I think that what you said is absolutely correct. You see somebody where they're at now and you see everything that they've accomplished without ever taking the time to consider how they got to where they got, how long did it take them, what did they have to go through, um, the challenges that they had to go through. I mean, all these things along the way are what shapes a person to become who they are and to be able to handle the kind of success that, is handed to them. For me, um, I learn a lot from the people that have gone through it. I learn a lot from older people. I love talking to older generations. My grandma, in general, like specifically, I like to talk to her and ask her advice on certain things because their wisdom is so different from, a younger person, for example. I'm not saying that younger people haven't gone through things, but I feel like they've been alive so much longer. They've seen so much more things. And the fact that she's also moved from Haiti to here gives me a different perspective, a different wisdom, a different um, way of seeing and way of thinking. Okay. So every time I'm about to tackle something new or I'm looking at a specific opportunity, I pray about it first. I see how I feel on the inside. I speak to my grandma, see how, she feels, listen to her advice. I speak to my husband. I mean, it takes a lot of different pieces before I jump into something because not everything is for you. Not
Right.
everything that looks good
Mhm.
is necessarily good for you.
Right.
All money is not good money.
Mhm.
So I always think about it that way. I get motivated by, you know, making sure that everything that I try to get my hands into, I will be able to make a difference. I will be able to, have an impact on the generation after me. And then looking at my children, they also keep me motivated. I'm doing it for them as well.
Right.
I want them to look at me as an example,
So
and I
true.
want them to make sure that they know that everything they have, they don't take for granted
Mhm.
because they are such blessed children. They have so much more than what I even had, not even a half or a quarter of what I had. So I want them to see how hard we are working to get them what they have. So they're motivating me as well.
Mhm. Right. And I think, it's interesting that you said your grandma, because even if we've migrated out of the island, we still have that village mentality. And I'm sure you're familiar with the saying that it takes a village to raise a child. So it sounds like the village raised you, and now that same village, including the strength of you, is now raising your two boys. So I think it's so important that we stay connected with the village that raised us and not take for granted the values that we've learned from that village, and also making sure that we instill those same values in our children, because it is so easy to go down the road of saying, I didn't have this, so I'm going to provide it for my children. But then in turn, we're not really teaching them the work ethic which got us to this point. It is such a challenge to want to be able to give them the things we did not have, but at the same time being able to teach them the ethics needed to be able to be successful in the future. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. So at this point, what three main points would you like our listeners to listen to? Because as you know, the show is about people who are trying to accomplish personal goals, people who are trying to move forward in their life and, just make something more out of their current situation. So if you had to think of three important lessons, three important points that you would like them to take away with them as they move forward, what would you say?
My most important thing to say is to always stay positive. You will be surprised what the power of the mind can do. If you train your mind to always think positive, stay positive, and see the good in every situation, it will become a way of life. It will become a habit, and you will be able to move from one step to the next, even going through a tough situation, a lot better than if you're somebody who's always looking at the negative. So that's number one, is making sure, it takes time, but it's something to work on. It took me some time to even get to that point. Always look at the best, because it could be worse. And people forget that. They always think, well, I could have had this, or I could have this, but you have so much more than somebody else. So always look at the positive would be number one. Number two, take care of yourself, take care of your mind, take care of your body, take care of your soul. Those things are important. You also need to have a good physical, mental ability to be able to wake up every day, take care of your kids, take care of your family, and even go to work. We always forget that our body is very important. Without your health, you can't do anything. You can't go to work and, earn an income. You can't go to school. You can't take care of your kids. So that would be my number two thing, is making sure that people realize that, health, exercise, mind, soul, all of that is important. Number three, I always say, don't be afraid to ask for help. You can't do it all by yourself. You can have everything, but you still need to have a support system. Otherwise, you're going to crumble. One person cannot do everything alone. So don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. I'm sure somebody's going to need your help, and you can use their help as well. So those are my three main things.
Right. And I think it's so important that you started with the mindset, because for me, that is where it all begins. If you're looking to make a major change in your life, and as you know, I wrote a book on the topic. If you're looking to make a major change in your life, the first thing you have to work on is changing your mindset. So you have to instill in your mind, and actually the very first topic that I will be covering with this radio program is the importance of just writing your goals down, because being able to visualize it kind of somehow imprints it in the universe and begins the process of changing your mindset from I can't to I can.
I agree.
So I think it's so important that you started with mental, having the correct mindset in order to make changes in your life. So thank you so much for that.
anytime.
Yeah, so this is your opportunity to promote anything that you're working on. We want to know if anything exciting is going on with Dr. Eva, and hopefully, as time goes by, we would love to have you come back and share with us, because I've truly enjoyed having this conversation with you today. So is there anything that you want us to know about that's coming up with you pretty soon?
I'm working on a few things. Right now I have a lipstick line called Dramatically Real, and it's for the busy professional woman, but it's for really any women. Um, it's natural, made with vitamin C, vitamin E. It doesn't dry your lips, and it stays on all day long, 24/7.
I
So
will attest to that. I do own some of your lipsticks. I will attest to that.
me being busy, I do believe that if you look good, you feel good. So in the morning before I go to work, I make sure I dress up, I put lipstick on, and I never have to reapply. So I thought it was super important to be able to be on the go and at the same time not need to reapply your lipstick every time. And then having young kids, I kiss on them all the time, and I leave no mark on their face. So I love that. So I created a lipstick specifically made for the busy professional woman. So www.dramaticallyreal.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at dr.evab. That's at dr.eva b. And that's where I'll be posting a few of my other projects coming soon.
Good, good. And of course, I'm going to have a little write up on you that I'm hoping. I'm actually in the process of developing my website right now. So I will be sure to include a headshot, your bio, and of course, your contact information, including your website. You're pretty much only on Instagram, or would you like to include Facebook as well? Just Instagram is the main one?
Facebook too is Eva Bonsu. I'm not
Okay.
as active on Facebook as I am on Instagram, but Eva Bonsu is my Facebook right now. EVABONSU.
Great. So I'll be sure to post all the information so folks can know how to get in touch with you if they're looking for another speaking engagement, maybe, because I think you did an excellent job of presenting and motivating us to move forward today. So is there anything else, any final thoughts you would like to leave with us?
And I want to say thank you to the listeners. Thank you for having me. And I look forward to coming back another time.
Great, great. So thank you so much for being with us, and you have an enjoyable rest of your day.
You
We'll
too.
talk soon.
Have a
Bye.
good day. Bye.
You too.